Good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hello, today you join with me, and
Anisopterror.
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 Anisopterror. Awesome. And yeah, so you can check out our work at deviantart.com. Anisopterror. Link down in the description, as usual. Yeah, so you can see the process of my painting. That is page 6. Oh no, it's page 5. Sorry. Of my book, which it's a big project in the running, which is interesting. Having such a big project, usually I'm used to doing heaps of little projects.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Awesome. So tell me a bit about yourself.
Let's see. So I don't know. I like dragons, and I don't know. I mean, what? Anything personal, or just about my art, or like what, or just
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
how did you get started in it? Yeah.
Oh, so when I was really little, I used to watch stuff like, All Dogs Go to Heaven, The Lion King, and I just always really wanted to do stuff like that. I was like, wow, I want to make something like that. And so, over the years, I just had a bunch of dog characters, and I got really into Spyro when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So that's been an obsession of mine since, just forever. When my parents are very upset with me, they're not proud of me at all. But basically, I've always been inspired by cartoons and Disney movies and animation, so that's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to make just stories, just stories for other people to enjoy and for me to enjoy and etc. That kind of thing.
Awesome. That's always the way to go, eh? I think everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Everyone has something that sets them off, kind of a thing. I feel.
Yeah. I remember when I was really little, I used to just scribble with crayons, and I drew all over the wall. And my mom came home, and she looks at the wall, and it's just completely just plagiarized. And she's like, "Who did this?" And I'm like, "It wasn't me." And I started pointing at the crayon. I was like, "No, it was the crayon's fault. I didn't do that." So yeah, I don't know.
A little tagger when you were. How old was this?
My what?
How old were you then?
Oh no, I was only the thing is, she told me this story. I don't even remember it. I was probably 2 or 3 when I did that.
A little tagger then.
Yep, yeah, pretty much.
A rebel for your art. A rebel for your art then.
I'm sorry, you keep cutting off.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, my voice should be alright. Sometimes it plays up a little bit with Discord on here. Cause yeah, I use Discord usually. Just because I was using Skype, but then I don't know if everyone has Skype these days.
No, nobody has Skype these days.
Well, it was more popular back when I used to continue streaming.
Yeah, I used to have Skype too. I don't use it anymore.
And everyone's on here, so I'm like, oh, I must do it on Discord now, and it seems to be better. There's less cutting issues and things like that, but yeah, it just my net and my computer, I'm not too sure where the issues are coming from, but there's always some sort of issue.
Yeah, that's why I suggested to record it, just in case you gotta cut anything out. You'd be like, "Oh crap," you know what I mean? Just some editing before launch. Yeah.
But I mean, these things I usually do them live.
Yeah.
But it is kind of a tedious job if I wanted to edit these videos.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I kind
Yeah, that makes
of
sense.
try and get it as good as I can the first time round. I don't do a lot of editing on it. I
Mm-hmm.
only do all the editing pre-hand, so it's all the painting that I've got going on. Um,
Oh, okay.
and I've got like two channels on the go. Um,
Yeah, it could probably be the bandwidth too that's causing the cutting. It's
mm,
not a big deal though. Usually when I record videos, I record them separately. I record the drawing and then I speed it up and I just talk over it, and I
mm,
do that in Audacity and then edit it and stuff.
yeah, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing, kind of per se.
Okay,
But I
okay,
mean,
that's cool.
going through 45 minutes of talking, I don't really want to
Yeah,
do
yeah, I
that.
feel that.
But that's the way. I mean, now I've got two videos coming out a week,
Oh,
slowly
that's good.
on my channel. One's
Yeah, mhm.
less time consuming. It's just like a 5 minute tip that I'm gonna give out,
Okay,
and
that's cool.
yeah, these ones are the ones that are joined with artists like yourself, and
Hmm.
um,
Okay,
so
that's cool.
usually these are just the main ones. It's just this, but I'm adding just a little 5 minute sketch every week now,
Oh, that's good.
which will be interesting.
Yeah, I don't really upload too often on my YouTube. I usually either my videos are like too short to really post them, or I don't really have any ideas. So I usually use leave YouTube for the back burner.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I
Yeah.
mean, each their own. Everyone, has their own kind of social medias that they use.
Hmm.
Um, for me, I feel that YouTube's the biggest one for me. That's the one that seems to work the best for me,
Hmm.
which, yeah, is good. And yeah, you were just discussing before, like things that get you inspired. I started out with a little bit later. I kind of was interested in a lot of things. I wanted to be a vet for quite a while, and then I decided that I couldn't be a vet because I don't want to like open up animals and deal with bloods and guts and stuff. And
Oh no, I don't blame you.
um, so once I realized that, it was like, oh, what do I do now? And then my love of animals. That's kind of what I do now, is drawing animals, but that's still with me, the love for animals. But yeah, I just randomly was watching like Family Guy, and those random adult kind of comedies, kind of a thing, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, I want to do that.
yeah.
Mm. And then I thought I wanted to be an animator, but that was more like, oh, this that would be so cool to do.
Hmm.
It wasn't like, oh, I love doing that. I should, pursue that kind of a thing.
And
Um,
then you realize that it's like hours and hours and
mm,
hours of work to make 2 seconds look good.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah, yeah. It's it's not fun. It is,
mm,
but it's not.
yeah. I mean, some people, they find animation the most fun thing in the world, but it's just not for me. I just can't bring myself to,
I
mm,
I really enjoy animating, but the
mm,
thing is, I don't really practice it enough because I usually like just sitting down and working on a piece, just like a regular just drawing, just shading it and adding details and stuff. I just find that way more relaxing, and the thing is, I like to write stories, and it's really difficult for me to finish like actual stories with animation because it takes so long. And I actually really prefer, I found over the years that I actually really prefer making comics over animating. And I love animating, but I just, it's not something that I want to pursue currently. I kind of just want to stick to making comics and making still art and stuff like that. But I do love animating. I love voice acting. I love stuff like that. It's just really fun.
Yeah, each their own. I mean, it's cool that you like comics, but it's awesome that you like animation as well, you know. But
Yeah, I like both of them because
mm,
there are certain things that you can't really portray in a comic that you can with an animation, like slight like body movements or tone of voice. Like that's all stuff that only animation could really provide. That a comic is a little bit more tricky. Like you can, but you just got to figure out the right. My bad. English is a thing.
yeah,
You got to figure out the right way to portray it, and it can be very difficult when you don't have like the right sound effects, or you can't just have the character say it in such a way. You have to kind of draw them with that kind of tone and make the whole panel have more of an ominous look of the characters saying something serious or etc. It's interesting. They're like two very different approaches trying to get the same idea across.
definitely. Like, I think with animation, you really do have to push it. Um,
Hmm.
you've really got to push it so that the character's actually moving in motion, kind of a thing. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, you doing animation does help your comic books as well. Getting some of
It
these.
does.
Mm,
What I did was I did in 2017. I had this comic that I was making, and I made an animated version of it. And I loved the animated version of it so much because the voice actors just had so much more emotion and had what they were saying in the right tone of voice. Whereas with the comic, I couldn't really portray that unless I drew them with a certain facial expression or because the thing about comics is that you don't want to always have just a character being stiff. You want to have
mm,
them like in the middle of a pose. Like you'd rather have them like in the middle of walking rather than at the end of the hall standing. Like you want to have them more captured in the moment. Whereas with an animation, you show them doing that movement. So if they stop, then it's not as bad because they moved over there. But with a comic, you have to portray motion in a still kind of way. And it was really interesting. Like that was kind of what made me realize that animation just takes a really really long time, and I'm not really that good at it. I'm still practicing. Whereas with comics, I've been doing them since I was like maybe like 12 or 13, so I have a little bit more. I kind of just a tiny bit more experience with that than with animation.
yeah, but there's no saying that you can't do both. Um,
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes though, with people that do many things, you've got to one of them stands out more than the other, kind of
Hmm.
thing. So you feel like that comic stands out more.
I feel like they have like strengths and weaknesses in their own way. In a
Mm,
way, I think that the animation is it kind of lacks in the art department a little bit because it's not a still drawing, it's like movement. So
mm,
with a lot of the panels I kind of gave up halfway through, and some body parts are really horrendously broken in certain areas. But then in the comic I was able to kind of like if it's just one panel, you're able to focus on that one picture, so you're able to put more time into it. But I think that the animation was definitely more entertaining, and you can kind of tell the tones of the characters' voices a bit better. Whereas with the comic, you just you have to basically imagine it yourself. But it was fun to explore both in a way because they they
mm.
they, they kind of both were effective, but just in different ways. It's kind of hard to explain because I don't really know all the terminology or anything. But yeah.
That's all good. I don't think I do either, but yeah, I'm like 50-50 as well. Like, so I got 50% of my time is spent on illustrating. The other
Hmm.
50% is spent on either editing videos, sorting out schedules, or getting artists in, or just recording and doing these videos.
Oh.
So it's
That's cool.
interesting. I didn't really want to be a video editor, but now I'm kind of spending a bit of my time video editing, which is an interesting
It's
process.
definitely. Sorry.
I mean,
I
I've
was just
done,
gonna say it's. I'm sorry. I keep
I
cutting you
say
off.
it.
I was just gonna say it is a good skill to have, under your
Mm.
belt.
It's definitely, but it's more of a thing that wasn't like I want to be a video editor. It's more a thing that it was like you're going to be a video editor because you have to make YouTube videos.
Oh yeah, I never wanted to be a comic artist either. Like I always thought that comics were like, that's okay, I guess. But who reads comics when you have animation?
Hmm.
And over the years, I realized, I've gotten a really big appreciation for comics. Like there are so many great comics out there that are just
Hmm.
fantastic, and they're just as powerful as animation in some ways. So things just change, I guess.
Yeah, well, that gives a different avenue. Um,
Mhm.
with animation, you can't really print it out, you know.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
So, in the world of like business and things like that, you've got, a bit more opportunity to, print your comment, get it published, things like that. I suppose with animation, you probably could get it, published maybe if it was a short film or something, um, or a full feature. I'm not too sure if you'll be able to work on a full feature yourself. Um,
Yeah, I don't really know too much about like how that whole thing works.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm kind of like I'd say that like what I do is kind of a hobby currently because I haven't gone to art school yet. I'm self-taught and I just kind of learn what I can through some tutorials here and there and references, but for the most part I kind of just screw around and I do things mainly myself. So there's a lot of things that I don't know that I'm still learning about that I'm still like trying to teach myself or look up online. I did Skillshare for a little while, and it's like these. You've heard of
Yep.
Skillshare, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I did that for a little while. It's these classes online, and like you just
Mm,
there's just all these different artists, and you can learn different things, and like there's like little tutorial videos and stuff. I learned some cool things, but I didn't really stick with it that much. I had like
mm,
this 2 month free pass, and I didn't really use it much. I only did it twice, but I kind of wish I did it more. But yeah, for the most part, the stuff that I do is just kind of mainly just a hobby. But
mm,
I do obviously want to take it seriously, and I do want to work on my projects more and stuff. It's just that currently, like I've gone to a college, and I was shot down, and told it like, hey, you want to be an animator? Well, that means you want to be starving on the streets for the rest of your life. And I was like, oh, all right, cool, great. Thanks for being very encouraging and kind to
yeah.
me. And they weren't person wasn't bad at all. Like she was being realistic with me. She's like, you should be in graphic design. You have really nice art, but the kind of thing that you're going for is a very, very small industry. They don't really hire people unless you got a lot of contacts, and if you don't have a lot of contacts, you're not really going to get much of anywhere. Like a lot of this has to do with contacts and exposure and stuff like that. So it can be very difficult. Even if you know everything you're doing and you're very good at drawing and you've done everything right, and it just sometimes just things don't work out. So that's why I'm kind of just taking my time with things. I'm just trying to like
Mm,
let me just work on this for now while I still because I live with my parents and I still have a roof over my head in that sense. So I don't have any bills to pay, so I can kind of just I can just work at home and just try to work on my comic and everything and get that out there. And well, I just have a part-time job to balance with. So
exactly. But
yeah,
I mean, it takes a lot of hard work to get what you want.
yeah,
If I feel with anything, I mean, for me, I can't get myself a normal job, just, a standard
hmm,
deli job, or, I find it really hard just to get a normal job. So for me, actually getting into the illustration industry, feels more, feels more tangible than just getting a standard job to me. Um,
yeah,
it's definitely something I can do things about, with getting hired, there's for a standard job, there's not too much I can do, I just create a resume or CV and then send that around and maybe talk to people that might know about employment, but there's not a lot that I can do. Whereas for my illustration and this kind of thing, I can do a lot about it. I can illustrate all the time, or when it's possible, and yeah, I can keep pushing my videos out there and keep pushing my my artwork online through either social media or just by talking to you guys. Is really um, yeah, awesome to have a awesome network of artists around the world to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's something I feel like I can push a bit more, um, and actually work on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of people have that view, like you'll never be an artist, people starve and all that stuff. But it's like, well,
Yeah,
it's
starving artist.
it's you got to work around it. I'm not exactly
Yeah.
being a starving artist. I do work. I
Hmm.
work on call. So at the moment, though, I'm like no to weekend work. So I'm looking for something Monday to Friday.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
usually at the moment I'm usually doing 1 or 2 days a week. Um, but it won't be long till I have probably a couple of weeks full time or something. And you never know, I might find a full time job, and things like this become a little bit more interesting to do. But it's not impossible because I was working for about 6 weeks full time straight, I think. Around about
Hmm.
6 weeks. I think I had the first 1 or 2 weeks, I only had 3 days, but then after that, it was like Monday to Friday each week
Ooh.
um, for the next 4 weeks. So, I had a brief set of time that I was full time and still working on all this stuff. Um,
Hmm.
So people say it's not doable and everything, but everything takes time, and this it's going to take time and effort. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I was
I agree.
listening to Roberto Blake yesterday, and he was saying, like, he was talking about mistakes, oh, not mistakes. He was talking about building up a YouTube channel, um,
Hmm.
and it's the same as basically the saying, the more you put in, the more you get out.
Yes. Yeah, I
Mm.
agree. Totally.
And I mean, with YouTube, he was saying at the growing stage, you know, don't worry about the numbers or anything. You don't,
Oh,
if you're,
definitely.
especially in the first few years, a lot of people get discouraged because they do their first amazing piece, first piece that's probably really good or something. They post it up expecting to get like 1,000 likes or 1,000 views or something. It doesn't get that, and then they get discouraged to continue.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yeah. I think we've all been there at one point.
yeah.
Yeah, I've actually been online for about maybe like 9 years now because I
Yeah.
used to have an older account. My
Mm,
old handle was A7X Sparks, and I
yeah.
had a bigger YouTube channel. I had a bigger following on my old account, and I never it never really like started off to be about like views. It was always just
Mm,
me kind of like drawing things because like, oh, I like this fandom because I used to really be into like
mm,
fandom. So I liked Spyro and Don't Starve and Bloodborne and stuff like that. So I always just drew like fan art for stuff. Um, I started kind of realizing that my stuff when I wanted to start doing more original stuff, I kind of started realizing that a lot of times like people don't really get as attached to original art as they do to fan art, and I was kind of realizing like, wow, I'm not really getting the kind of exposure that I thought I'd be getting for this because I was putting a lot of time into it. I was really proud of the character designs, but I just really wasn't getting like I mean I was doing well. I was well off because I had like 7-8 years worth of following behind me, so I had like I had accumulated a lot of people, but it wasn't really like I was seeing like other people who had like like freaking through the roof numbers. I was like,
mm,
what? How do you do that? And you know, a lot of times you can't compare yourself to people like that
mm,
because I found out that like a lot of people that who had like a lot of followers, who had a lot of this, they were like you're using like clickbaiting, like they'd put like My Little Pony in the tags when it wasn't a pony drawing, or they would like they just did some really like kind of weird stuff to kind of just get their stuff out there. Some people would buy followers. Some people would do like the DeviantArt hub thing where you put in like a llama and you get some followers from it and stuff. you can't always base your art off of the following that other people have, because a lot of times that following comes about in different ways. Also like commissioning bigger artists to draw your characters, and then they post that, and that makes more people click on your page. It definitely does have to do with the art, because people aren't going to follow you if you don't have good art. But it does. Advertising does play a really big role in it, and if your art's not getting a lot of views, it's not because your art's bad. It's just because maybe your stuff isn't really all over the place. It isn't oversaturated in tags and stuff like that. And it's not always a bad thing. Popularity really isn't too. It's not all that great. I was a little bit popular in like 2012 with the whole. Do you know the game Skylanders? Like when they took Spyro and they put him in like a different series, and there was like toys and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in that fandom for a while, and like I kind of got a taste of what popularity was like, and it was just like I had people tracing my art. I had people like getting into fights in my comment section. I had some really weird people start like getting mad at me and stalking me, and just getting like really weird. And I kind of was just like, okay, let me just back this up a little bit. Like, yeah, I really don't miss it all that much. Like, yeah, I do kind of miss the views and like having people be like, hey, your art's really awesome and stuff like that. But even if you have like 2 or 3 people saying that, you don't need like 40 people telling you that your art's awesome. If your art can inspire a few people, I think that's good. But of course, if you want to make like commissions and money and stuff like that, then of course you want to start trying to get a bigger following. In my case, currently, because I moved accounts, so I really didn't tell anybody that I moved. I didn't tell anybody on YouTube. I didn't tell anybody on Instagram. I just made a little post about it on DeviantArt, and like a fraction of the people who followed me saw it. So my following's pretty much gone at this point. But the thing is I'm not really like desperate to get it back. I've been working on like my comic through, because I'm basically rewriting it, because my old comic that I'm the current one that I'm doing was based off it was based off Don't Starve. It's a game, and I'm basically rewriting it to be its own thing, and I've just been writing it on the sidelines. I haven't been posting it. I haven't been telling anyone about it, and so I don't really have many things to post on a daily basis, because I'm mainly just putting my time into that. And I think that's more important. I think that, the whole project that I'm working on is, more important than, hey, let me post something right now so I get lots of views, or let me do like a fan art piece so I get lots of views. Like, I think it's definitely important to build up a following, but, it shouldn't encompass everything. It shouldn't be the all-encompassing thing of why you post art or why you do it. I'm working on this comic because I want to, because I want this to be what I post and, what others read and stuff, so... I don't know if any of that made any sense, but
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
It made perfect sense. If in the end, what can your audience do for you, kind of a thing, because they can't do the work for you. They can't illustrate what you want to illustrate. They can't, pay you for working exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got a following, they could watch your YouTube, and then eventually that could get you money, but it doesn't exactly pay your bills having all the publicity in the world.
No, if you're like open commissions and you're a well-known artist, then of course you'll get some people being like, "Whoa, yeah, well, I want some of those." The thing about popularity is that, because like personally, when I had like a Tumblr account, I used to have people like asking my characters questions, and I would respond with answers and stuff. It's definitely encouraging. Like like when you post something and you have a lot of people reading it, and they tell you like, "Oh, I like this part," or people ask you questions. It's definitely like motivating. It makes you want to keep posting. It's like, all right, cool. So people are reading this and they're liking it. But again, that shouldn't be the all-encompassing factor of why you do it. You need to do things at the end of the day because this is your story. This is what you want to do. And, of course, you're posting things online for others to see. Like, in my case, I'm on both sides of the coin. Like, of course I would like to have a bigger following, and of course I would like to have, a lot more people and be introduced to new people. Because, not only is it, getting exposure for your art and getting commissions and, just having motivation of people really enjoying your stuff, but it's also just that whole feeling of, liking to inspire people and, meet some friends that way and stuff. But, it's not the end of the world if your stuff's not that popular, because that does not have any reflection on your ability to draw. I mean, the creator of Villainous, you've heard of Villainous, right? With that show with like the guy with the black top hat and like the little monster bear thing, and
Well, I'm actually not sure.
oh well, it's like this show that people have been talking about, like, that it's like started in Mexico and it's going to be on Cartoon Network. I don't know if it is or not. I haven't really been keeping up with it. But the guy actually had a DeviantArt account at one point, and he didn't have any followers. Like, he was a nobody. He had a little ass blog for his characters. He was just like all the rest of us. And he went on to work for Cartoon Network, and now his show that, he was posting all that time is really popular now, and everyone's talking about it. I just, I think that just goes to show that, online popularity does not really mean anything. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, again, like I said, you can just buy followers. You can just clickbait. You could just, there's so many ways to get the same results by taking advantage of the algorithm and stuff.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't exactly get you the job, It's about,
Yeah.
You need the good work, and you can share it with, he would
You'd
have
have a good
to,
personality.
Yeah, and the personality too.
Mm.
He would have gone to Cartoon Network and showed his work off, and eventually got hired there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, that's really awesome to get. But
it's important as sorry.
Keep going.
I was just gonna say it's important, like, if you have a story as well, like, I think your best bet is to kind of keep it offline until you have things kind of fleshed out, and then you start posting it as well. Because those are the things that, you want to represent, that you want to represent yourself with, you know what I mean? Like your characters and your art and your ideas and stuff like that. You don't want to just like, kind of like throw that out there and just kind of, I don't know, I'm at a weird spot with that as well, because I've had some of my characters like taken in the past and like turned into everybody else's OCs and stuff like that. And I mean, that's just gonna happen regardless of whether you post it as a finished piece or not. But I'm not really sure where I was going with that. I was just kind of saying that, like, you want to just kind of like stick to your guns and, keep, if you don't want to post things, you don't have to post things right away. Like, just keep things offline until you finalize them, until you're happy with them, and then you can like post things. Like with my comic, I've been like kind of upset because like I feel like I should post it, but like I'm not in any stage where I want to post it, because I don't want to, like, it's either post it and then just start rushing it because now I have a comic to keep up online, or I keep it offline and I just post every now and then when I have time for personal art or art trades, and I just keep it offline until I perfected it, and then I start posting it the way it's supposed to be, and then I'm not working on any schedule of, but my followers are expecting it. It'll already be done. You know what I mean? So I guess that's kind of what I was trying to say with that. But also, like, if you have an idea, you don't really want anybody else to take it, just keep it offline. Maybe tell it to a few people that you can trust, because some people will take advantage of that. And it's kind of sad, but, it happens.
Yeah. I mean, it happens, and I've heard a bit of artists, that have gotten their work stolen and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Usually if they're saying that, they're like, don't really care, kind of a thing, because, what good is it going to be? Fight it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like with a lot of times, because I've had friends who've had their art like straight up traced by so-called like popular artists and stuff like that. I think it's important sometimes to stand up for yourself when your stuff is being taken like that, especially if it's by somebody who's making money off of their art and stuff, and they're making money off of one of your pieces, or just, showing it around like they did it, but meanwhile, you were the one who drew that, or you're the one who had that idea first and stuff. I think it's important to kind of stand up to yourself and say, hey, that's mine, that's my work, don't do that. But there are other times when, if it's something that's similar, but it's a weird place, because you don't want to like make a big deal out of something that's similar but not exact. Even if they did get the idea from you, there's a lot of times where you just gotta kind of back up and be like, well, do I want to fight this, or do I kind of want to let this go? And I think that if it's something blatant that can really be damaging to your art and to your just overall everything, then you definitely need to say something. But if it's something where you can kind of work around it and be like, all right, well, mine's different enough, and etc. So
Yeah, well, I was just saying, don't worry about posting your stuff and being like, oh, I'm not gonna post it because everyone's gonna steal it, kind of a thing. So as in,
Oh yeah, no.
no,
That's also not true either. Because I remember my username Anisopterror is actually it's because Anisopterror is the scientific order for dragonfly, and
yeah,
I put terror at the end of it because I have this character that's a zombie dragonfly, and for the longest time I never wanted to post him because I'm like, no one's ever done a zombie dragonfly before. I don't want to post him because everyone's gonna steal him. And then I posted it and it got like 2 comments, and that was it. And I was like, okay, maybe I reacted just a little bit. I think that like people kind of overblow like, oh, don't post your stuff online, but it's just kind of a I guess everything's kind of a balance. Like, you want to post your stuff online, but you don't want to post anything too sensitive. You don't want to post anything that's too kind of near and dear to you, because if somebody were to take it, then you're screwed, basically, kind of thing. So you want to just kind of post things in moderation. That's why I don't think that you should be too oh man, I got to post something for my followers. Just, do what you can, but don't get too crazy about it, because you don't want everything being online. You really don't. But I haven't had a problem with that character, so.
I mean, I don't post everything and anything.
Yeah.
I've got my sketchbook that I do a lot of drawings in, and I don't show all that stuff. All the kind of quick doodles and things like that. All the sketching and process that I do for some of these paintings and drawings. I usually just kind of usually I just share the process on YouTube, and I don't even post any art really anymore. Usually there might be the odd piece here and there. But
the thing with me is I'm a sorry.
Keep going.
You can go. No, you can keep going.
Yeah, well, I don't have anything to post at the moment because I'm working on this project, and I don't really want to share the final pages of this book until it's kind of at the printing stage. So I haven't really got anything to post online apart from my YouTube videos. Yeah. What are you gonna say?
There's nothing wrong with that. I was just gonna say, oh shit. I don't. What was it? Oh, it's in there somewhere. I was gonna say, oh yeah. A lot of times I don't post things because I'm a huge perfectionist. I literally will not post like doodles or anything because I think my doodles are just really ugly. Like, personally, I'm like, oh god. Like, I'll notice that like the pen lines don't look right, or the anatomy looks wrong in that area, and I just won't post it. Like, literally, like a feather. And this is a real thing. I have a drawing that I made. I colored it with crayons, and I was really happy with it. But I noticed that one of the feathers looked a little weird, and I never posted it because of that. I never posted it. And it's been like weeks that I've had this drawing, and I'm just like, I don't want to post that. That looks like crap. Because of the one feather. So that's another thing that's like, I'm actually kind of curious where you stand on that. Because like, with the whole thing of perfectionism, I was told that, like, if you have a story idea, just do it. Just, if you have an idea for something, just put it out there. Just do it. You don't want to like stay focusing on perfecting every little detail, because you'll never have it perfect. There's just no way it's going to be perfect. You just got to go with your best thing. You got to be proud of it. You got to be proud of what you post, and you got to put it out there. And I have such a hard time with that, because like, I'm very passionate about what I create, like, especially my comic. Like, if it's just a regular drawing, I'm like, oh, there's something wrong. It's all right. It's not a big deal. But like with my comic, with plot holes, or with like character design, or just something like that, or like, oh, the placement has to be like this, or the pose, or the anatomy there has to be right. Like, I have such a hard time with it. I have such a hard time with like looking at something and being like, no, it's fine, I'll just post it. Like, no, that looks wrong, and that looks wrong, and then I want to keep fixing it, and I end up never getting anything done because I just keep looking at it and keep being like, oh, but that looks weird, and that looks weird. I guess it's like just like insecurity, I guess. You know what I mean? Especially since you're posting it out there and you're like, other people are going to see it and you're like worried that they're going to be like, hey, that arm looks weird. Ha ha, you don't know what arms look like. I'm like, you stop saying that. I know what arms look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Where do
yeah.
you stand on that? Like, do you have that problem, or is that just me being crazy?
I kind of had that problem per se. I didn't want to post it because there might be this wrong, but I don't really have that. I just keep moving forward. I know that
Mm,
each piece I do, is gonna grow and get better, and I've got to level up with every drawing or something. Um,
yeah.
so I just keep posting because I know there's gonna be something wrong with it because we're not perfect. We always make mistakes, and it's
Yeah.
even if you look at some of the top artists out there, they make mistakes even on a
Of
daily,
course.
regular basis. There's no one
Hmm.
that does not make mistakes at some point. Like um,
Yeah.
you just gotta keep growing and take something out of each piece. I take so on some pieces I might be this I did the character really well, but the background's and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
started out just focusing on just the character or just what I was drawing at hand, not the background. Didn't worry about the background. Um, but now with some of the pieces I'm doing, like this page here that I was doing, I was focusing more on the background and things like that as well, but also the characters. So I feel like I'm getting better at backgrounds now, but still I look at it and I'm like, I still don't know fully what I'm doing, but I'm just learning and growing, and each page that I do on this book, I'm like, oh my gosh, the background's getting better, and then I go back on the other pages, I'm like, I really have to change that, like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I've
learning a
had that
bit
happen
more
too.
about how to paint grass or how to paint it at night time and um, everything like that, and every page is just getting better slowly. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I just keep moving forward. I don't worry about what anyone else thinks. Really, it's
Yeah.
my opinion. I mean, if I do, the only reason I would care what someone else thinks is only if I'm trying to get better. Someone might be like, "Oh, this leg doesn't look right," and I might look at it and be like, "Oh, okay. So how do I fix that?"
Yeah.
Um, well,
Exactly.
one of my,
Having that construct.
yeah.
Sorry.
Keep going, keep going.
I was just saying that having that constructive criticism definitely helps a lot. I think
Yeah.
it's important to like, um, you want to put your best work out there. If you're looking at a drawing and you notice something looks off and you haven't posted it yet and you still have a chance to fix it, then totally fix it. But just, I think there's a balance. Like I said, there's a balance with literally everything in this whole
Mm.
thing. But like, um, I think if it's good to like look at see things, like maybe look them over before you post them and stuff, and just to make sure like, oh, I could use a finishing touch there and there, but don't go crazy. Don't be like, oh, but that looks weird and that looks weird, maybe that could be better. Like then you'll be there
Mm.
forever if you're trying to perfect it. And there are just some things you just gotta let them go. And
Yeah.
I think that like when you notice that like an artist that you like makes a mistake, it kind of humanizes them in a way. A lot of times we have this feeling that like, wow, I'll never be like these people, but meanwhile they were like us, and they feel the same way about their art that we feel about ours. Like they're like, oh, I don't like the way that one looks, so I'm going to post it anyway. And people who can't do that, people who are like below that skill level, they don't even see those mistakes. They're just like, wow, look at how good that is. So it's like, you're always going to find mistakes with your art, even when you're like really, really good. And you may have it down packed, but that doesn't mean you're going to be proud of every piece you make. And, it's just a big process. I mean, if I would have seen my art the way I draw now when I was like 13, I would have been like, wow, that person's awesome. But I look at my art now and I'm like, wow, I suck.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. This was pre-recorded, so thanks for joining us. You can see your art at Anisopterror.
See my art at www.deviantart.com/Anisopterror.
There you go.
Mwah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for joining
I should have
me.
just named myself like Steve or something. That would have been easier to pronounce. DeviantArt.com/Steve.
Yeah, Steve. Awesome. Well, check out.
Yeah, Steve.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it was. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
It was really
you're
fun.
very welcome. Okay.
All right, see ya.
Bye.